Welcome back, learners. So this is Manisha, and in today video we are going to solve remaining question of the budgeting. If you remember, we have solved previously up to 284, and we will continue from 285 in this video. So stay tuned with this video till end, and we will make the budgeting concept very easy, and we will solve the question together. So pick up your Kaplan exam kit, and we will just not only solve the question, I will highlight the mistake that student used to do during the exam. And obviously, and when they fell, they said, oh, I have covered everything, but still I failed. And I will show you the reason of the failure in the today video. All right. Okay, so we have already done up to question number 284. In case you have missed out those video, you can access those video available on my YouTube channel at free of cost, and I will also add the link in the description box if you need. All right, so let's solve this question together. 285. So 285 is saying, which of the following would be best explain the concept of sustainable development? So first one is saying, starting business in developed country where the economic climate is conducive to trade. See, what do you understand by the sustainable development? So, for example, if we are cutting the tree right now and we are not planting as well, so in that case, we are compromising the need for the future generations, right? So, sustainability means that you should use those resources in a such a way that it will not compromise the future generation needs. It will meet the need of the future generations, right? And in option, if you look at the statement A, if you look at the option A says that starting the business in the developed country where the economic climate is conducive to start. Trade, sorry. So this statement is only indicating the business strategy, and that also in the developed market. So we should start our business in the developed market or not, right? So it's not any defining any sustainable development, okay, a concept of sustainable development. So it's not correct. And option B says development that meets the need of present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. This is exactly what per the definition given in the book. Okay. Now option C, sustaining the production at the level of maximum capacity. So basically it's talking about the production efficiency as well as profit maximizations, whereas sustainability focus on the resources, right? So there is no any link between the maximum capacity or the resources that we don't compromise for the future generation needs, right? So it's incorrect. Okay, so basically overall concept of sustainable is to balance the resources to meet the present as well as future need. Okay, and last one is developing the business by signing a long-term contract with supplier. Basically it's talking about the supply chain management. Okay, and whereas sustainable development may social, environmental as well as economic, it talk about to balancing all these three, right? So it's also not clearly defining the concept of sustainable development, so it's incorrect. Okay, let's move to the question number 286, and it's very easy, but I know some of you might have find this question challenging. So let's solve this together. A company makes two products, X and Y, which are sold in the ratio of 1:2. The selling price are 50 and 100 respectively. The company wants to earn 100,000 over the next period. What should be the sales budget be? The company is selling two products, right? And that's it, X and the Y, right? But they don't provide us the quantity in which these both products are sold. Instead of that, they provided us with the ratio that both of these products are sold in the ratio of 1:2, right? Yes. So now, and also says that company wants to earn 100,000 by selling these two products. Okay, so now what does sales budget be? The question is asking the quantity of the both of this product X and Y. So now for this question, let's assume that X be the quantity sold for the product X and 2x be the quantity sold for the product Y. Okay, it's very simple. Now, if X is a quantity, then what is the selling price per unit of this product? 50. So by multiplying these two, we will earn 50 into X from this product if we sold X quantity. Similarly, for the product Y, if we are selling 2x quantity and that's also at the price 100, that means how much we earned? We earn 2x into 100. And by adding these two, that should be equal to 100,000. So what I mean to say, if product X are sold in the X quantity and the selling price per unit is 50, by multiplying these two, we can calculate how much we earn from product X. Similarly, for the product Y, if we are selling out 2x quantity and that's also at 100 per unit, multiplying these two, we can calculate that how much amount we earn from product Y, and adding this 2 should be equal to 100,000. So now let's calculate further. Yes, after doing calculation of this equation, we will get 250x equal to 100,000. Now let's solve the x. Okay, and how can you solve? It's very basic math you might have learned during the school's time. Simply divide 100,000 by 250 and we got x equal to 400. And this X is the product X. What about the Y? Y are sell in the 2 times of the product X. So that means 400 into 2, that's 800. So this is for the product X budgeted sales and this is for the product Y budgeted sales. That's the 400 and the 800. Yes, it sounds easy. Yes, of course it is. So now let's move to the question number 287. Yes. Okay. A business is preparing its production budget, material uses, and material purchase budget for the forthcoming period. And the following information is known: that we know the budgeted sales, we know the current inventory of finished goods, required closing inventory of the finished goods, and each unit of product uses 6 kg of material X, and detail of this are as follow. Okay, so question simply asks what is the production volume required for the forthcoming period to meet the sales demand. And I know you guys might found this question very challenging, but it's not. It's very easy based on the concept that we have solved a few questions previously. So let's do this question together. So in order to calculate the production volume, first let's figure out what the information is given in the questions. So they have provided the budgeted sales and also provided the closing inventory, and the amount is also given, that's a 550, and they also said the opening inventory, but they didn't say directly, it's indirectly they have said that budgeted sales and the closing inventory is very clear, but second sentence says current inventory of finished goods, means of previous closing inventory of previous month or the year, they are having the 400 units and it will be the opening for a current period, right? And they also say that previously they have 400, now it will be 550. Okay, so now in order to calculate the production value, if you remember the formula from my previous video, let's do this again. So you might be knowing the formula of cost of sales, right? So now here cost of sales will be replaced by the sales and purchase will be replaced by the production, and rest of the things will be as it is. Now we will arrange this equation in order to find the production formula, and here it is the production formula. Now we will apply this formula for the above, in above questions. By using the above data, we will calculate the production figures. Okay. Yes. So sales we know it's 2300. Yeah. And opening inventory is 400 plus closing inventory of 550, and it will give the production of 2450 in terms of unit. And question is asking you to calculate in the units. It's very easy now. Let's move to the question number 288. Now question says a company makes three products X, Y and Z and following information is available. Alright. And budgeted production unit they have already provided for the three product, machine hours, variable overhead, fixed overhead. Now question asks you to what is the total overhead budget. So that means you need to calculate for the both of these variable as well as fixed and need to add both of these figures. Let's do this together again. Okay, so let me copy paste few data. So these information are already given in the question. So we have three product. Okay, that's X, Y and Z, and the budgeted production unit they also provided in the question. Then we have a machine hour per unit, it's already given the question, that is a 562 per unit of product X, Y and Z. Okay, so now let's calculate the total machine hours for the total unit, means this is for the one unit. So how much machine hour is required for the 200 unit, and again in case of Y, how much machine hour is required for the 400 unit, and similarly for the Z, how many hours machine hours is required for the 300 units. Let's calculate that. Here it is. So I have multiplied 20 into 5, 200 into 5, that gives 100,000 I mean, and 400 into 6, that's give 2400. Similarly for the Z. And now I have added all of these three. That means total machine hours that I need is 4000 hours in order to produce all of these three quantity units. So now let's calculate the variable overhead. So for 4000 hours, so we are paying variable overhead of 2.30 per machine hours, and we have 4000 hours. So we need to multiply these two in order to get the total variable overhead cost. And similarly for the variable fixed overhead, again we need to multiply 4000 into 0.75 per machine hours. So adding these two, this is the total overhead budget. Okay, this is for the question number 288. Now let's solve question number 289. The following information should be used for the next three questions. A toy manufacturer produced two products, a clockwork clown and wind-up train. Standard cost data for the product are as follows. They have provided direct material, direct labor, budgeted sales, clothing and inventory in terms of unit, in terms of raw material they have provided. Now the first question is asking what is the total direct material uses budget. So if you remember from my previous class, what is the formula for the material uses budget? It's budgeted number of unit of production into the material quantity required per unit. Okay, and here what student obviously do the mistake, they calculate this material uses budget in terms of unit. But if you look at the option, the question has calculated in terms of kg. So obviously they just do this kind of mistake in the exam due to exam pressures. So please check, at least if there is blank box, then your mind should hit this whether the question is asking to calculate in terms of unit or the kg. Obviously it's a material, it should be in the kg, right? And in order to calculate the material uses budget, and again we need to have the production formula, if you remember. So how can we calculate the production one formula? This is same as the cost of sales equal to opening inventory plus purchase minus closing inventory. Cost of sales will be replaced by sales and purchase will be replaced by production, and the rest of the things will be equal. Now formula for the production sales will be, yes, this one. Yeah, let me copy paste this above. Yeah. Yes. So this is the formula for production of the sales. Production in order to calculate the production quantity. So now let's do this together. So product are clock, walk, clown, wind up train, right? And direct material we need they are paid 5 per kg, and for 1 unit of clock work clown we need 2 kg, and for wind up train we need 1 kg. And budgeted sales unit, it's already given the question 450 and the 550 I have just picked up from the question. Opening inventory is also given the question and closing inventory as well. Okay, so after this I just copy paste from the question. Now production is calculated by using the formula, this one. Yes, this one. And by adding the total unit of production quantity of both of these product, that's a 1,000 unit in total. Now let's calculate the material in kg. So 1 unit of clockwork clown required 2 kg. So how much 460 unit is required? So we need to simply multiply this two and we got our figure. Similarly for the wind up train. Now let's add this to value. It will give 1460 and that's a material uses budget. Okay. Yes, that's a material uses budget. Now next question is asking what is the total material purchase budget? Material total direct material purchase budget. And if you will look at the option, they have calculated in terms of cost, monetary value. So what is the formula for the material you purchase budget? So this is the formula. That's the material uses budget plus closing in stock minus opening stock. So we already calculated the material uses budget here, and we already have the figure for the closing and opening stock. If you remember in the question, this one. Yes. Don't take the unit one, because we all unit one is for the like calculation of production in terms of unit, and here we will use the opening and closing inventory of raw material, not for the units, right? So we have a material use budget of 1460, where we need to add the closing stock of 60 and deduct the opening inventory of 50. Okay, this will give the material uses budget of 1470, but the question is not asking you to calculate the unit, they are asking to calculate the value. That means we need to multiply the material cost, which is 5 per kg, with the material purchase budget, and this will give us 7350. That's option A. Okay, now let's do the last question. 291. What is the total direct labor budget? This is the same as of the 289. So instead of direct material, I have taken now direct labor. And here, what the student do the mistake, I will highlight this thing with. So these are the information which is already we have calculated, and some of them are provided in the question. Now we need to calculate how much total labor hour we need. Okay, and if you look at the question has provided the labor hours. I mean, the 1 unit of the clockwork clown required 18 minutes and wind up train required 30 minutes, but the labor rate is in the per hour. That means we need to convert this minute into 60, and due to exam pressure, students do this kind of mistake. Okay, so here, in order to calculate total labor cost, what I have done, I have taken the production unit and multiply with the labor time required for 1 unit, and dividing those time by 60 in order to get in terms of hour. So I have done this for the both of this product, and in total we need 408 hours. But the question is asking in terms of monetary value, not in the terms of hour. So that means we need to multiply with the labor rate, which is 8 in our case. So multiplying that, it will give us labor of 3264. And yes, we have an option. So we will do remaining question in the next video. So stay tuned. I hope this video is useful. Please share it among your friends. And thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.